So, continuing on a similar topic of the Xfinity Series race, Justin Allgaier says that the Atlanta reconfiguration has completely ruined this place and went on to say he's kind of embarrassed for the sport right now. Spot on, spot off, Brett.
Man, Justin's...
I guess Josh ain't going to be the only one getting fined.
Justin's comments at this point in the day were actually spot on. And Logano was in the booth with Suarez. And Logano immediately basically went into salesman mode, which I told you guys last week on the show I hate. I hate when TV tries to sell me on how great it is. Your job is to basically do the show and tell me what you think. But for me, Casey, like his comments right then were spot on because it was embarrassing. I mean, we just watched a truck race that had 11-ish cautions in it, and here we are 7 cautions into stage 1, it felt like, in the Xfinity race. So I agree with Justin that we ruined the place because I loved old Atlanta. I love tire wear. I love watching the guys work the seams, watching the guys work the top, getting big runs off of 2, running the bottom of 3 and 4, the big bump you'd hit coming out of 4. Like I appreciated all those things as a race fan, and to me, this was not a great look for the sport, unfortunately.
Spot on. I mean, spot on for Justin's comments. Give me back old, worn-out Atlanta where you got to drive the race car, you got to save tire, your tires matter. Like this, I get it. It's kind of gimmicky, and it's going to trend back in that direction unless they just go ahead and repave it every 5 or 10 years, whatever it is. But, it's just – I don't know. It's kind of like we talked about how bad the super speedway package is now with this, and it feels like the same. If you're just stuck, like it takes. Like I saw Noah had a interview yesterday where he's like, I was trying to be aggressive, but I just penalized myself every time I tried to make a move. He'd be running in the top 10. He'd try to make a move, and he'd be tail of the line because you just couldn't do anything unless you had a couple guys to go down there with you or 3 or 4. And so if we're a single file, you're just stuck there until something happens, kind of like the plate races get. And I don't know. Like I get it. We do that to plate races. I don't think we need to turn half of our races into this. This is going to be 6 races of the schedule now where we just ride around for half the race and then we race a little bit. We get 2x2 and race for the last stage maybe. But, it just, I don't know. Just I loved Atlanta. I loved old Atlanta, watching Kevin Harvick paint the line in 1 and 2 and wear us out forever there. That's where they turned Harvicking, It's just I wish it would get back to that versus what we got now.
I mean, his comments are correct about the amount of cautions we had, but most of that was controlled by the drivers. Don't you think?
Who wrecked who back there? I know it's JRM on JRM crime again.
Well, we had contact with the 7. We were in the middle of the track, and we got hit down in the middle of the track. The 51 ran into the back of us so hard off of 2 that
he was selling pit passes.
I got to watch this on TV.
The 51, I saw the 51 hit us, and you can't tell on the backstretch from our view if they're middle or high really until there's bumpers overlap. So, and then all of a sudden, I see the 7 just go turn out. I'm like, oh gosh, what happened? And I don't know. It looked like they just kind of met in the middle a little bit.
Like both going for the same.
Yeah,
spot.
I don't know if they. I mean, Josh wasn't like, oh, there's a 7, let me get him here, and Justin wasn't like, well, there's an 8, or I'm gonna block him or whatever. I just think they just met in the middle, but
coincidence.
Yeah, but the other wrecks like the spinning out in a 3 and stuff, it was really windy yesterday, the last couple of days there too. So I'm not so sure the wind didn't hurt the entry to 3 at all, but those guys had to drive it, and the Xfinity cars were a handful, man. That's where a guy like him, if he doesn't get in that wreck and caught up in anything yesterday, he was probably coming out there like a top 10 finish, and that's where a guy like him has a big advantage because he knows how to race smart. And we did a lot in the ARCA races too. You just take care of yourself and you come out there with a good finish. But a lot of the wrecks were controlled. They were just forced, just errors. We didn't just a lot of mistakes, and that was the embarrassing part is guys just driving over their head that probably weren't ready to be at that level yet, right? I mean, you went in turn 3 and you got loose, and what did you think at that point? Okay, well, I need to back off a little bit here and not put myself in any bad situations. Well, I don't know if a lot of them think that. They're just
they don't for sure.
Well, yeah, you see it firsthand.
Oh yeah,
and they just hammer down in the corner still, and then I got loose and I wonder why. So, I think it opened up. Xfinity cars are my favorite cars to watch on the track because they're a handful to drive, and you see them sideways and they fight you can get people loose by getting right behind them. You can pull the air off their door in the corner. You can't do that stuff in the Cup car. But I just think it was an extremely hard track to drive with that car, and there was a lot of mistakes.
Josh?
Do I have to? But no, like, yeah, I agree with Justin. I mean, it's not what it used to be. You know, like old school Atlanta, the mile and a half's usually for like the smaller teams. We usually struggle a little bit. You know, all smaller teams, right? Because it's all aero platform. You got to have all the cool fancy trick stuff. But with the rule changes and as bad as the cars drive, which I actually like the way they drive. They don't drive bad, but they're harder to drive. Old Atlanta would have been awesome. So like, Atlanta's usually my best mile and a half. So like, I think I started like 28th or something last year, and I drove to 12th because you have to drive the car. Like you're sideways, everything's happening. But this type of racing, if you're too free or sideways, you can't go nowhere.
You're stuck.
And some of them commit. Like Sage Karam, he come from the trunk, and I'm wrecking loose, and he gets to me, and he runs into me down the tri-oval, picks me up, turns me sideways, and he never lets go of me. And I'm like, bro, we're fixing to wreck. So he finally lets go of me. I hang on to it. Then he rolls to my outside, sucks the air off of me. So I'm still sideways, middle of 3. I'm like, what are you doing? We're on like lap 12.
That's the type of guy that's what I'm talking about.
We know
stuff
who
like that.
Josh's what idiot is this week.
Ding, ding, ding. I've had problems with him every time he races. So
You're not the only one.
Seems like a lot of people do.
yeah, I mean he's a good guy to talk to, like good, cool dude. But like he puts his helmet on and he's like, here we go.
Yeah,
Smithley have an issue with his spotter this week?
I would say.
I didn't.
happened
I
there?
wasn't watching on
I
TV.
seen his tweet. I don't know what happened.
Coleman Presley does an awesome job on the broadcast of describing the roles that spotters do. He really does. But when they brought up the whole spotter thing,
What happened? I don't know.
the
what
spotter apparently told him to go higher. Guess where the cars were?
happened. I guess
All
they
the
were
way at
high.
the top.
They were high. Guess what happened? Garrett hit him.
He's probably going to hit him anyway.
So Coleman's like, I mean, on that deal, you know, it's a lot of banking, and you think it's going to clean itself kind of like Bristol, and the cars hadn't come down yet. It's just a 50-50 shot. Well, I'm going to tell you something. It's a 100% zero shot. If you told them to go high and the cars are up there, there's a 100% chance you're going to hit something. Logano said on TV that the driver in that scenario can't see and has to trust a spotter.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what Logano
I
said.
know.
2-time champ, right?
I mean,
Race winner.
unless there's smoke everywhere.
Race winner.
you
I mean,
can see
there was
what's
some
going on,
smoke,
yeah.
but I mean,
Logano said you can't see. I believe him over y'all.
If you,
I'm sure TJ too.
your best chances
I
are
mean-
to aim for the thin smoke, not the thick smoke. Yeah,
Oh, I'm going to use that one.
yeah.
Yep.
Aim for the thin smoke.
If we wreck and I'm saying that, I'm blaming you.
Aim for the thin smoke.
I'll
What are
take
you
the heat.
doing? That was the thin smoke.
The
Why
thin
did you
smoke
go
every
for that?
time.